Hi, I'm Nate Biddle, and this is VR on the Web. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today is the Metaverse update number 4, and today I want to talk about Horizon Workrooms, the Meta ETF, founded and run by Matthew Ball, and an acquisition that Glimpse Group made of the company Auggd. So, Facebook just launched Horizon Workrooms beta on the Oculus store, and a lot of companies are already trying it out. A lot of people have already been trying it out. What it is an interactive shared space where people in professional environments and in general can join and interact and collaborate in real time, similar to how you would with a screen share like Zoom, but in a 3D space with more interactivity. There's a lot of great features with this. It allows for things like bringing your keyboard into your space virtually, utilizing the cameras outside of the Oculus, and so that lets you type naturally and have a seamless experience between the virtual world and the real world. It can hold quite a number of people. I don't know the exact cap, but I've heard numbers between 50 and 60, which is fairly standard for screen shares, as far as sort of interactive sharing, that is. It has spatial audio, so people that you are talking to, you can hear them, as if you are in a room with them. You can hear them on your right or on your left, for instance. Additionally, you can collaborate on things like blackboards, and you also can customize your avatars, but really it just allows for a lot of interactivity. It also has seamless transitions between, VR, other applications. You can send notes, update calendars, things like that. Additionally, if you're utilizing Horizon Workrooms and you leave VR mode, you can move to a regular screen share seamlessly between the two. So, when you move out of it, you'd appear for those participants who are in the workroom with you as if you were on a Zoom call. So you'd be video calling with them at that point. So this is something that's going to be really useful for teams that are collaborating remotely. It's going to bring a shared sense of community and presence, which is great for team morale, team building. And then additionally, it adds layers of interactivity and collaboration that you wouldn't have otherwise. My company's actually going to be trying it out, and I really recommend trying it out for any teams that are remote. You might find that it brings you a level of communication and collaboration that you wouldn't otherwise have. So yeah, that's Horizon Workrooms. I'm excited to see where that goes, or if there may be competitors emerging. That'll be interesting to see. Next thing I want to talk about is Glimpse Group and how they just acquired their 10th subsidiary, a company called Auggd, which is an augmented reality solutions and software provider that caters to the engineering and construction space, architecture, engineering, and construction. So they're a solutions provider for that. Glimpse Group has been amassing a number of companies. What they are is an umbrella company that holds a number of subsidiaries. Right now their count is 10, and they're all virtual reality and metaverse related. I'm going to be following that stock quite closely. I'm really excited to see where that goes, and I really think that as we approach full maturity of the metaverse, and as it continues to mature, that companies like Glimpse Group and those that deal in virtual reality and augmented reality, extended reality, metaverse companies are going to have quite an advantage in the market, and that might be the place to look for outsized returns in the emerging tech scene within the financial world and the stock market, obviously, in addition to things like blockchain and Bitcoin, which actually leads me to the last part that I wanted to talk about today, which is an ETF called Meta, which was founded by Matthew Ball, who's the writer of the Metaverse Primer. I've talked a bit about him in a few of the earlier Metaverse updates, and he's somewhat of a thought leader. He's proposed a number of ideas of how the metaverse may mature and things that are needed to help it grow. And the ETF Meta, it's just a bunch of companies pooled together into the ETF, which is an exchange traded fund. So Matthew Ball's ETF has a number of assets. Those who invest under their control right now. I think they have 50 million assets. They have about 50 million in assets that are being utilized for these companies, and their portfolio consists of both software companies and especially hardware companies. Matthew Ball has stressed that, the bottom layer and the hardware that actually builds the metaverse is going to be something to, really watch, and as far as a venture capitalist is concerned, or an investor is concerned. So hardware companies he's big into, and then additionally he's into software companies that allow for cross-platform technology, and he's mentioned Unity as one of the main ones that he talks about in that regard. He doesn't mention WebXR as much as I would like, because I think WebXR is going to be a big part of it, and the ability to actually write virtual reality experiences directly utilizing common web languages, web programming languages like JavaScript. And with the emergence of Web GPU, we're going to get greater and greater ability to create high fidelity XR experiences for the metaverse directly using web technologies. So, I think WebXR is going to be a great one. But, back to Meta, it's holding NVIDIA is its top holding. It's also holding Microsoft. And then when you get into software, it's holding things like Roblox and Unity. Those are its third and fifth, respectively, largest holdings. It's also holding Coinbase. Matthew Ball has emphasized in some interviews that he's been in that he doesn't think that decentralized finance is a requirement for the metaverse, but he also acknowledges that there are some great arguments that are being made by the blockchain community, and I'm a huge proponent of utilizing blockchains for ownership and transmission of, financial data and wealth across the internet, because I like the idea of it being decentralized. And when it comes to the blockchain, even financials aside, the blockchain allows you to prove ownership and establish copyright in a much cleaner and a much more iron way, in that in order to, if you were to, for example, establish on a blockchain a given 3D asset, then if someone were to try to plagiarize said asset or sell said asset, if a site where they're doing that, or the metaverse as a whole, the mechanisms of exchange, if they filtered and required blockchain confirmation, which is essentially like having a password associated with a given address and the information held at that address. So you utilize your password, which is called your private key, there's a number of other terms people use for keys: owner keys, poster keys, in the case of things like Hive and Steemit and some other platforms. But if you have that proof of ownership that no one has, then the person who's trying to plagiarize and sell your work would be denied, and you'd be the only one able to sell your work within those mediums that allow for it. So within those mediums that filter in that regard. So I think blockchain can be utilized in many ways, and especially in copyright, legal issues, and then also as a means, and Matthew Ball does talk about this, as a means of not having a cut taken from the top. When you think about things like the Apple Store, and how it might take 30% from revenue that you get when you sell things on the Apple Store. So utilizing blockchain, you can bring those premiums down quite a bit, and it can just be a person-to-person exchange, and it's fully trustworthy as a result of the decentralized nature of it and the confirmation that occurs on all the different nodes. So that's another one. Meta is one that I'll be following. I recommend you take a look too. Check out their holdings. I'll include a link below with the full list of holdings for Meta. I'll include a link below with Glimpse and all of the subsidiary companies that they have. So I recommend taking a look at those two financial instruments: Glimpse Group, which owns the 10 subsidiaries, and then additionally Meta, which has a handful of companies, 30 plus, that it's holding within its fund. And they're all, in Matthew Ball's mind, and the administrator of the fund, they're all related to the metaverse, and I took a look through them. They all seem very synergistic with the metaverse. You have companies like Snap, Facebook, hardware companies like NVIDIA, Microsoft, which is also a software company, Apple, same deal there, Alphabet. You can't have a lack of alphabet when you're talking about a company, Alphabet, aka Google, when you're talking about a company that is going to focus on those things that are going to be a big part of the next stage of the internet. Obviously, Google is going to continue to be a big part of the internet unless something really surprising happens. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'll be back next week with the Metaverse update number 5. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like. If you haven't subscribed already and you want to subscribe, click the subscribe button down below. Tap the bell if you want notifications. But other than that, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great one. Bye.